What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from Rants. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. We're on the road to 1,000. We hope you guys can help us get there. Alright, so King of the Hill revival will be different for original fans. Before I give my take on this and what I'm assuming this article is trying to say, I think there's a little bit telling things in it. This article goes on to state, how it was different in its time. It was kind of like Simpsons in that the characters never really aged. It never, but unlike the Simpsons and Family Guy and so forth, they never really got too political in things. So, from what I'm getting out of this new reboot might be a little different. Let me just go ahead and read y'all stuff that I think is really telling to what this has got to say. When talking about this, about a revival of this show, it says, but it seems the series might be making a comeback and leaving some of those old features in the past. These old features being not being political, aging, the characters aging and things, changing. It says, when asked about a reboot in a recent Reddit AMA, King of the Hill writer Brent Forrester recently sent the internet buzzing by saying, I am sure Greg Daniels and Mike Judge will murder me for sharing this, but hell yes, they are in hot negotiations to bring back King of the Hill. He also added some additional context. The Trump administration made it suddenly very relevant again. The characters have all aged 15 years. This news isn't a complete shock, as in 2020. Greg Daniels told comicbook.com that he and Judge had tried pitching a potential reboot concept to Fox a few years prior, but that the network didn't want to go ahead with it. At the time now, after Forrester's comments, it seems like there's hope on the horizon for a revival. After all, this is exciting news for fans, but it's also a tad worrisome since a reboot, as Forrester described it, would drastically alter parts of the King of Hill's original allure. Now, my question to you is, what does the Trump administration have to do with making Fox more interested in bringing it back? I'm not really... Look, I've watched Family Guy. I've watched Simpsons. And, most of my life I've watched, Simpsons. Especially since my wife is like an ultra Simpsons fan. Like, she's majorly into it, even more than I ever was. I think she literally could binge watch. Well, no, I want to say she could, but she actually has binge watched the entire, all the Simpsons episodes. But as far as the King of the Hill note, about how Family Guy and Simpsons over the years has got incredibly political. So when this says the Trump administration made Fox maybe change its mind on whether or not they want to bring back this show, the only thing that I can get out of that statement is that it's wanting to bring it back to take political shots. That's the only thing I can really think about when it's talking about in that regard. Of course, I don't know if it's they also did mention that, they'll be aging the characters 15 years. So, which is it? I mean, or is it both? Is it the show's going to be more political? Is that what it's trying to say? And it's going to age 15 years? Is that the difference and the, taken away from the allure of what the show originally was? I mean, is that going to be the change? Because if it's if it's of a political nature, I don't really know how interested or excited I would be in this. I'll be honest with you because um, I watched Animaniacs when I was a kid, and did it have some political things in it? Yeah, it did. But it's not one of those things that when you go back and you watch it, that you're like, oh man, I get that now. They wasn't overtly political, but when they rebooted it, it became just overtly political in like the strangest of ways. Like it was things that got me to thinking, and after watching it, I got to thinking, what is the point of putting this in a kids show? Like kids that are watching that are not going to get that concept. Parents who grew up watching it are not going to really find it that interesting because it doesn't have the same nostalgic feel as what the original does because it was way too political. Um, if they do this, if let's say they bring back the Trump, King of the Hill as a way to, I don't know, shots against Trump voters or making it political, I'm just not going to be into it. I'm assuming that's what this is meaning. And I'm assuming this is the route they're actually wanting to go. It being in Texas and all, them kind of having that hillbilly feel towards it. There's going, and Hank being very traditional in his ways. It sounds like Fox being interested in it is because in a lot of these, you take CNN and all this since, he's been out of office. Um, you've seen a decline in ratings in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of these, kind of left wing, far left wing sites are kind of looking for something as a punching bag, and they really haven't been able to find one recently. They've tried on a number of different things, but they've never really been able to find that can really garner the same intensity as what they've been able to muster these last 4 years. So if they're going to use something like King of the Hill as an aspect to maybe take shots at people's political affiliations or anything along the or Texas for that matter, because of his being Republican. Like I don't know if I'm going to be into that. I'm really disappointed if that's the route they're going to go, and if that is the point, because I just feel like those words that Fox wasn't interested in a reboot a few years ago, but now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, let's get this reboot done. So kind of feels like we're going to be getting King of the Hill in name alone. And instead what we're going to be getting is more like King of the Hill meets Family Guy meets Simpsons kind of thing. It's not going to have the same dry humor than what it originally had, and it's going to be overtly political. And if that's the case, I'll tell you this right now, I would be super excited to see a new version of King of the Hill. A reboot of the series. But I am not going to sit there and watch a show that is just its sole purpose is to hate on someone's political affiliations or to take shots at a president that isn't even there anymore. I just don't, or the people that voted for him. I try not to get too political here on Rants or Us, but I'll say this: I'm not interested in it going either way. Doesn't matter to me. If you want to take shots at Biden fans as well, have a show that's dedicated to that. I'm not into that. Not going to be into that show either. I don't like politics and the stuff that I watch in any direction. Doesn't matter if I agree with it or not. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just personally that way. Um, I don't want that in my shows. I definitely don't want it in my nostalgic shows. If that's the route that it's going to go, I really don't. I was sorely disappointed with that Animaniacs reboot. I've been selling it so hard to my son that it was this amazing show and how wonderful it was going to be. And then when he saw it, he was like, "What is this?" Like, I mean, it's like they weren't even trying to be funny; they were just trying to make a political point. It wasn't the same. So don't give me a hollowed out version of King of the Hill. If you're gonna give me King of the Hill, give me the real King of the Hill. Give me the King of Hill that I remember. Don't use this show as a means to get back at red state voters or any of that kind of stuff. Maybe to boost ratings or any kind of thing like that, or to just take just shots just to be vindictive in any kind of way. I just don't like shows that are that way. I feel like that's where I kind of lost interest in like The Simpsons, because they've taken such a hard stance on certain things. Family Guy is incredibly bad about it as well. I guess I'm old school in that way. I just don't like politics in it. I feel like politics is very destructive. I really do. I really believe that. I feel like politics is very destructive to friendships, to just relationships in general. I feel like it needs to be, you need to go in the voting box and vote what you believe and who you want for the country. But as far as if you're going out there and you're creating content and things, whether it be one way or the other, me personally, if you're one of those people, whether you're on the right or the left, I'm not interested in your content. I'm just not. And I'm definitely not interested in your content if, like I said, you're hollowing out great shows like King of the Hill and you're just going to put in a bunch of political puns. I don't need a Texas version of Family Guy. I don't need that. No one needs that, Fox. So if that's your intentions, keep your reboot to yourself. I ain't going to be interested in that. I knew some garbage would happen like this when it come to it. This being 2021, everything's got to be so political these days. I don't want to go through the whole whether it's woke or whether it's not, because woke means so many different things to so many different people. But I will say, if you're going to politicize a show that really has no reason to be politicized, that was great when it wasn't politicized. Don't ruin another one. Keep this, forget about a reboot if you're going to do that. I'm not into it. Whether I'm the minority and the majority, I don't know. A lot of King of the Hill fans would take a reboot under any cost. I'm personally don't that way. I don't want them to ruin these characters for political points. But as always, guys, let me know what y'all think. Let me know if y'all are excited about a King of the Hill reboot. If it means that their intended goal is just to, because of the political environment around it, if they make it politicized instead of the King of the Hill that we grew up with, would you still be interested in it? As for me, it is a large no. And no, I don't want no part of it if it's going to be that way. But let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Y'all